Buying a house is just not a joke, actually. Basically, around this time last year, we bought a house. We bought a house, we got a mortgage. And when I say we, I mean myself and my partner, my gang, my Cody for life. Buying a house is just not a joke, actually. And I don't even feel like that is adulting at its finest. Welcome back to my channel. Oh my gosh. I'm just about to do my hair just for content. So I thought I'd do a little chit chat about where I've been, what I've been doing. Can we just get into this tune? I'm sorry, I've been on TikTok all morning and I've just discovered a song that I really enjoy. Nicki Minaj. I get paid to rap on the things that this dumb little bitch is doing for cheap. What kind of bitch let 6 men hit? I run on her pussy and do it for free. Nah. See, China? I mess with her heavy. Anyways, let's do this hair whilst we talk mortgages. I just want to talk about the pressures of growing up. I think we all used to laugh at the fact that people would be 30-year-old living at home with mum. And we all used to laugh about it. But the reality is, that's the reality. In this day and age and in this climate, it's actually not easy to not be at home at 30. You know, I'm in my late 20s, now a property owner, but it is not easy. And today I just want to talk about our first mortgage, the process. I might do this in 2 parts, but all in all, it is the ghetto. If you thought adulting was hard, you try getting on the property ladder. I mean, now looking at it in hindsight, there's definitely things that I have learned that I will not do next time. For example, I'm sorry, everybody tells you to make sure you check the boiler, make sure it's working. Who the hell knows how to check a freaking boiler? Me that I don't work for British Gas. What on earth will I be doing trying to diagnose whether a boiler works or not? But obviously now that I have the experience and now that I know that I can find these things on YouTube, which obviously sounds crazy, but when you're buying a house, that's not at the forefront of your mind. Your mind is, am I getting done over? I want to make sure that I'm getting the best house possible, or I'm getting the best rates for a solicitor. You're not thinking about the ins and outs of the house unless you have someone there to point it out for you. Furniture, guys, why does furniture cost an arm and a leg? An arm and a leg. This chair that I'm sitting on right now, this is a bargain. This is a Soho House dupe. This cost me about maybe 100, maybe 200 pounds. A chair. Can we just deep that? A chair. That's not even the thick of it. The original Soho House chair, 1,000. Come on. Let's just stop it. And half the time, people don't even come to your house and notice these things. We changed our lights. We deliberated for weeks. Did anybody come into the house and notice that the lights were changed? Right. Make sure that when you're buying things, when you're considering things, you're going for what you like. Because I'm the type of person who considers everyone around me. Don't know why. I just think for other people when I really shouldn't be. And one thing buying a house has taught me is that we're the ones living in it, and if I didn't have a partner in the process reiterating the fact that there's no need to think for other people, I probably would be regretting it right now. Yes, it's good to consider friends and guests and family, but 365 days out of the year, how many times are they coming around? Do you know what I mean? Let's go to my notes. So, step-by-step guide. First-time buyers. View many houses. Oh my gosh, guys. The amount of times I thought that I found the one. We went to so many houses and at one point I was just like, yeah, this one will do. Yeah, let's take this one. Yeah, because who has time? It's so time consuming. First of all, I used to be very indecisive. That was probably one of my worst traits. Like, I hated that period because not only was I indecisive, that was my excuse for everything. I kind of sat in indecisiveness. Oh, I'm so indecisive. Like, no, that's not cute. It's actually not cute to be indecisive. I think everybody who says that they are indecisive needs to grow up and grow a pair and stop claiming indecisiveness, because it's actually not cute. Also, out of all the things to be indecisive indecisive about, you plan to live in a house for a while. It's not something you want to be indecisive about, really. That's another thing I will say. I think having an accountability partner or having someone in the process with you, even if you're not buying with that person, but just having someone to bounce thoughts off of and just be there for you. Like, I cannot imagine buying a house by myself. Now looking back, a lot of the decisions that we both made, it's a very, very, very tedious process, and I think having someone to support you in that is really important. So yeah, just view as many houses as you can. There's always going to be a better house. There's always going to be a nicer one. You're always going to feel like, oh, there's going to be a bigger house. And let me tell you something right now. Me personally, after you buy your house, you don't look at, I mean, maybe for like a month or 2 or 3, you're still getting alerts and you're looking at other houses, but you're gonna fall in love with your house, especially if you walk in and it's a blank canvas. Obviously it's going to be empty, there's not gonna be any furniture there, and you're gonna make it your own. And now that I look at other houses, I'm like, our house is our house. I'm so in love with it, and I don't look at houses anymore. That's my number 1 tip. Make sure you're looking at loads and loads of houses. Don't just stop or give up or blame the fact that you can't choose a house on indecisiveness. Just keep looking for houses, because when you find the one, you will put an offer in and you will not regret your decision. So the next step, once you've found your beautiful house, put in an offer. You negotiate. This part is rough. It's rough because you know for a fact that although the estate agents are being super lovely and super kind, and at some point you start believing that the estate agent is not. Well, we did anyway. At one point I was like, who is asking for more money? Is it them or you guys? And this was much later in the process, to be fair. We wanted to decrease our offer. Reason being, we did a survey. From the survey, we found that there was some dampness, or the house was damp, which was gonna cost us about 2K, 3K. Now looking back, that is just a scam in itself, because apparently all older houses, basically all Victorian houses that are not new builds, have dampness to it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to die. I think I took it so like seriously, because obviously I've seen there's a huge problem with like damp houses in the UK. It can severely affect your health, and obviously I don't want that to be the case a few years down the line. But we were just trying to, you know, take precaution and just be as smart about it as possible. So obviously we've gone back to the estate agent and we've told them, excuse me, there's damping in the house. We said we want it to decrease by like 5K so that we could cover the cost of, what was it? I don't know what it's called. I'll find the word. But it's basically to prevent the house from being damp. Like they inject stuff into the house so that the damping goes down or whatever. Long story short, they said no. I do understand why. We put an offer in maybe February. By the time the reports came back, it was about 4, 5, maybe even 6 months later. They were probably frustrated, and at this point they're thinking, this process is taking long and now you want to decrease the price. No way. So in future, I'll make sure that we get a survey done as soon as possible, and whatever the outcome from the survey is, we take action as soon as possible. Buying a house is not one of those processes where you can procrastinate and take your time, because at some point all different parties will be frustrated, whether it's the estate agent, whether it's the sellers, whether it's the buyers. And I guess that's what happened in our case. You just want to be on your A game. You want to make sure that you're chasing the solicitors, you're chasing all parties, and just making sure everything is going swiftly. So the next step after you've put in the offer is obviously they accept the offer or they reject the offer. Once they accepted the offer, we were so excited. It was just such an exciting time. One thing about African parents, during any process in life, they will tell you to keep your mouth shut until the process is over. I completely understand this. Not many people of the Western world understand this. And people get offended, especially friends, you know, when you're buying a house and you don't tell people. And I felt really, really bad, because it's something that obviously I wanted to share with everyone. I guess you get made to feel that maybe not everybody is for you, or because you just don't want the process to be wavered in any way. I mean, it is very superstitious, but I don't see the harm in not saying anything. Like, even with opportunities like job interviews and just opportunities that I've had in my life, I've always been quite private about it until it comes to fruition, because I'm the type of person who doesn't like explaining myself once something is no longer, like is no more. I hate being that person who is just chatty. And then by the time you know it, oh, what happened to the house that you were buying? Oh, what happened to the... Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so... Why should I have to explain myself? People who are around you and people who are your friends should understand that. It's a private thing. And I feel like sometimes friends and people should just respect your privacy. I understand you may want to be part of the process and you may want to know about the process, but you also should kind of respect your friend and not take it to heart. I know there's a lot of people who think that because they share with you, you need to share with them. And it's just like, bro, not everybody is built like that. Low key, that's expectations. We all know what expectation leads to. Disappointment. Why are you expecting me to open up in the same way that you open up to me? But then also, I guess I do understand the other side of it, where it's like, as a friend to someone, you don't want to feel like you're the only one opening up and they're not opening up to you. I don't know. I feel like the house process is one of those ones where it's understandable. And I feel like until you go through it, you actually do not understand. I actually had a friend who did the same thing. We didn't really know much of the process until it was done. Yes, there's grounds to be offended, but I think after that initial feeling, at the end of the day, something super positive. You should be proud of your friend, and it's not the end of the world if they don't take you through the whole process. The next step after you accept the offer, you then have to find a solicitor. Some people have this lined up already. You can find it once you've got the offer, because at that point you actually need a solicitor. I mean, we were looking around, were recommended one by a friend. Ugh, solicitors. Solicitors are the bane of my life, and they go so quiet for so long. It took a lot of chasing. You had to be on their neck. So I was calling every single day like, bro, let's get a move on. We've already delayed the process to the point where now the sellers were frustrated, now the real estate agent were frustrated. They started threatening us about pulling out. And we were just like, excuse me, that's our house. Till this day, I don't actually feel like they would have pulled out, because it would have just been a longer process to put the house back on the market and start selling the house again than just going through with us. But I mean, it worked. The threat worked. I think at that point we just left it with God and was just like, if it's our house, it will be our house, and if it's not, it's not. We were actually going through treacherous times, and I think another point to add is you have to be on your A game with your faith. There was so much going on. I had lost my job, was looking for a job for about 3 months, and obviously I had this big weight on my shoulders that I was about to have a mortgage. The offer had been accepted. I think in my mind as well, I think that's probably what added to the procrastination. Yay, we've got an offer to a house, but I don't have a job to pay for the mortgage. So if this process could take a little longer, I don't mind, because that gives me more time to find a job. So I didn't have a job. April, May, June, July. Start of August is when I got a job offer. Bearing in mind, I went to Mexico in June for 2 weeks, which took all my money, like all of it, by the way. Tulum, who knew it was gonna be that expensive? I don't know what I was thinking, just being reckless, and I was just leaving it in the hands of God, but also just having a good time, because, excuse me, you only live one life. Tell a lie, I did have the security of my mum, because she's just an angel. I think just having that also put my mind at ease, because I knew that regardless I was good. But I also understand that not everybody has that privilege. So if you're going through this process alone, just be really smart and really wise with your money. Once you found your solicitor, why are there so many charges? Guys, when you are buying a house, there are so many charges that come out of your arse crack. Not only do you have to give the solicitor your deposit for the house, the biggest one that I was not expecting, home insurance on the day of purchase even. That same second you have to be ready to pay home insurance. Nobody told me. You have to pay for checks. You have to pay for whether people can do works at the back of your house or in the front of your house. I'm just a girl. Council, water bills, gas bills, electric bills, all of these charges that you didn't factor into, you just think that is the deposit? Oh, good luck. And it's a thing where like, okay, so then just tell me that I don't just need a deposit. Tell me that instead of 10%, I need about 50%. And that's basically what it is. I'm not even joking. having about 20% will set you up in terms of furnishing the house. And I'm talking basic, like bare minimum furnishing, by the way. If you want to be doing an interior design, you gotta step the money up. Yeah, so after you pay all of those miscellaneous charges, you want to find a surveyor. The surveyor also costs money. I'll try and find how much it was and place it somewhere. This is kind of where you have to step your foot down and be ready to lose the house if it's not up to the standard that you want it to be. So this is where we got all of the information about the dampness and etc, etc. I think there was the gutter needed to be clean and stuff like that. Obviously that's stuff that we can do ourselves and that doesn't take a lot. I think the damping was our main concern. I think because we had taken so long to action it, it just was a thing where we just had to fork it out of our own pockets, unfortunately. Whereas if we had actioned it sooner rather than later, we could have negotiated it. They probably would have agreed to take a few grand off. Once you get the results from the surveyor, you will contact the solicitor, I guess let them know if you have any concerns. They will then be in touch with the other party, and you want to send the surveyor report to your solicitor also. And then I guess once both parties are agreed and everybody's happy, you then schedule a completion date. Once this is scheduled, it's quite strict in terms of timings. Well, we were told that it's quite strict, so I tried to go to the bank to transfer our deposit to the solicitor. It turns out there's a fee if it's above a certain amount via the bank, but if you do it online banking, there wasn't a fee or something like that, so I just did it online, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to do it by the bank because I thought that that's the way you have to do it, but honestly, if you just transfer it online, it's no different. And then they confirmed that they had received it. Actually, they said that they would send us the deed in the post. I just feel like we haven't received that. So it's been a year, so I'm gonna go and chase that up because I'm so sure we have not received that, which is quite worrying actually. That is basically it. I think the whole process, like I said, is something that you really need a support system and God in your back pocket, because it gets to a point where you actually just want to rip your hair and your eyes out. Okay, so that's part one done. That's basically the breakdown of the steps to buying a house. Part two, I'm going to touch on things that you should look out for and things that they don't really tell you when you're buying a house. So stay tuned and I'll see you in my next video.